Okay, here's my take on blue slide mandolin. This is my bottleneck slide that I'm going to use. You can use chrome slides. There's different kinds. The bottleneck has a crease in it. You want to make sure that the creases are to the side. That way you're not hitting the strings with the crease. It'll give it a bad sound. Another common sound problem with mandolins is the tailpiece. A lot of times people get scratchy sounding strings and they think it's some tuning or nut issue when it's in reality just the tailpiece needs to be adjusted and perhaps maybe a piece of felt put underneath it. Very common problem. Now, I've tuned the mandolin to GD, basically taking the two high strings, the A and the E, and tune them down a step. That way I'm taking pressure off. Some of the open tunings you're tightening, and I'm not a big fan of putting more pressure on the mandolin that already seems to have enough tension on the strings. So we have GD, which gives us an open tuning. It's not exactly a chord, it's a G5, the first and the fifth, G and D. So that means we have open, G5, 3rd fret, B flat 5, 5th fret, C5, 8th fret, E flat 5, 10th fret, F5, and then up to the octave, G5 on the 12th. So we stick to those chords, and we'll have a blues sound. Now, to actually play the blues slide mandolin, you need to take the finger that's right before the slide and put right on top of the strings to mute them. If you don't, you kind of get a bad sound. So you mute those strings and then lightly put that slide right on top of the strings. You make sure it stays right in between the frets. However, with slide, it's okay if you get a little bit of a wavy sound. It doesn't. That's the thing with slide. It doesn't have to be perfect. So as long as you are not putting a lot of pressure down on your strings, you'll be okay. Sometimes the nut isn't right and all the strings aren't even as they should be. So you have to put a little bit of pressure to get them all to play right. It's all a matter of your mandolin and how the setup is. You just have to get the feel for it. So I'm just going from G5 up to the E flat 5 to the C5 to the B flat 5 back to the G5. And that'll give you a blues sound. That's a starting point. And then from there, just kind of explore the fretboard. It makes it a lot easier when it's tuned GD. You're always on a 5th, so as long as you stay in the right key, you'll be okay. And the key to blue slide mandolin is that pressure of the muted finger and the slide on the strings. Even when you've been playing for a while, you still kind of have to give it an initial practice to get that proper sound. Stick to the, sometimes play just the high strings, sometimes play just the low for some variation. And there you have it. As long as you stick to the proper pressure of your fingers and keeping it tuned to an open chord, and your strings aren't, if your strings are too close, your action's too close, you'll have to, raise the nut, but that's another video all in itself. So there you have it, some blue slide mandolin.